Idaho Matters is brought to you in part by St. Luke's Pharmacy, now offering free home delivery. For daily medications or one time prescriptions, home delivery is easy to set up. It's convenient and safe. St. Luke's Pharmacy, now delivering to your doorstep. Information on how to get started at stlukesonline.org.
Love Boise State Public Radio podcasts? They are free to enjoy, but not free to produce. If you can give, your support helps keep shows like Idaho Matters and Scandalize available to everyone. Donate now at boisestatepublicradio.org.
More Idaho Matters now from the studios of Boise State Public Radio News. I'm Gemma Gaudette. Some habits are hard to break, and for many, nicotine is one of them. It's an addiction that often provides a boost, some focus, and a list of health risks, which is why one Idaho athlete wanted to help make a change. So he created Deckies. It's a caffeine pouch that provides a pick-me-up without the nicotine. So joining us now to talk more about this Idaho company is Deckies founder, Dean Herkenrath. Dean, thanks so much for joining us today. Welcome to the show.
Gemma, thank you so much for having me. What's up, Boise? Dean from Deckies here. Excited to be here today.
Okay, so Dean, for people who are just learning about Deckies, and I have to tell you, I literally only learned about this yesterday. How do you usually explain what it is?
It's I like to explain it first by just kind of covering the backstory. So about, what are we talking here? 4 years ago now, there's a little popular brand called Zen that started to arise on the market. And they use a thing called white nicotine pouches that started to really flood in to our, sports community, our schooling system. It seemed like everyone was using these nicotine pouches. So that is when I had the idea of keeping that same white oral pouch, but fill it with healthier ingredients such as vitamin C, B12, and caffeine to help get these athletes and consumers of nicotine products off these harmful products. So Deckies is about a half cup of coffee per pouch that you simply put between the upper or lower deck of your gums and let rest between 30 to 45 minutes. And you're getting flavor, nutrients, and of course, caffeine.
So how did you so great idea. How do you take the idea into existence?
Right? That was the hardest thing to figure out. Because you don't, being an entrepreneur, you can't really, you kind of have to build the plane as you're flying it. So I kind of just jumped right in and had an off period class my junior year of high school, meaning I didn't have to be to school till around 11 a.m. So during that time, I would get to the local Panera or local Starbucks and sit in there and do something I call research and design, figuring out where we want to manufacture this, who's our target audience, how are we going to get it here, how are we going to get it in market, what's the branding, and that's where the journey started. We spent 2.5 years of research and design manufacturing Deckies because there is so much science that goes into creating this little pouch with all these vitamins and caffeine. So we were looking at different countries, and still to this day, the manufacturing doesn't exist in North America, the correct one at least. So we actually have found a manufacturing agreement overseas in Denmark, right in actually Copenhagen. And they make the best quality pouches, and we had an agreement with them. And that was the hardest thing. And I honestly think we kind of got lucky with that. And then the rest was honestly history, just figuring out how to get this to market, which has just been insane.
Okay, so Dean, if I'm doing the math right, this puts you in your early 20s, and you have created quite the product. You also mentioned, sports. So how has your personal experience, in particular in sports, influenced knowing that you needed to get this product to market?
Well, you kind of see it first off when people think about it, think of baseball and MLB. And with that, the Copenhagen chewing tobacco was a big thing, for decades. And then, all these pro athletes started to do the nicotine pouches, which quote unquote was a cleaner alternative to Copenhagen chew, even though it's the same addiction. So, we're looking up, as high school and college athletes, looking up to the professionals using these products, it's almost like, oh, if he's doing it, why am I not doing it? So I think um, it has, really flooded into the space for athletes to use these harmful products. And it just kind of made me angry that big tobacco was able, to come out with a quote unquote cleaner alternative, but still get people hooked to their nicotine addiction. And it really made me more angry at the time. There was nothing else on market like this. There was no healthy alternative pouches to get, our athletes off of these harmful products. And that's when I just stepped in. And the crazy thing is I was going to go play baseball in college. But then Techie started taking off so well that now I'm just full time committed, to helping athletes and users get off nicotine.
So, who did you picture using Deckies? Was it just athletes in the very beginning? And has that changed over time?
So, this was the hardest thing to actually picture is who do we market this to? So, we have two major US demographics that use Deckies. You have the everyone that uses nicotine pouches, which is ages, sadly, as young as 16 all the way up to 80. And then you have all the caffeine users, which, as you know, basically every American uses caffeine, it seems like. So there was, a lot of different routes we could have gone to this. But at first, we wanted to knock out nicotine, which is why we trademarked it. And that was our go-to-market strategy was let's start off with getting people off of nicotine, getting off of their addiction, and using Deckies. And then we quickly transitioned as well and added on all the caffeine users. Everyone that's using, these energy drinks that are filled with sugars and calories. Deckies doesn't have any sugar or calories. So we realized, okay, now we're able to also market to a larger demographic of caffeine users. So it's really interesting. We still target market the athletes in the sporting community because we are a better for you product that matches really well with athletes. But at the same time, we're getting all these blue collar workers, first responders. You got corporate America. And they use it because it's hands-free caffeine. They're able to put a pouch in their lip and still work.
When did you, as you said, you had this, kind of dead period, your junior year of high school. How did, did you take a business class in high school? An entrepreneurial class, or was this just something that you, honestly, your free time and you figured this out? I'm so curious about this path because this product is doing well. It's in, you can find it in convenience stores.
Yes. So ironically, the timing was pretty special. Of course, I wanted to get the name out there, and I'm not going to lie. At first, I was a little self-conscious of bringing a product to market because you have the what ifs. What if it fail? What if you look embarrassed? And I'm still in high school at the time, and there is that type of high school bubble where you go through those stages where you do feel a little insecure, maybe stepping out of your comfort zone and bringing something like this to market. But luckily, I had a business class, actually, with Miss Marta Watson was the teacher at the time. I believe she's still at my old high school, might have retired. But she was doing these pitch competitions, ironically, where you would, create a business, do the whole research and design, go-to-market strategy, and pitch it to judges. And that really got me out of my comfort zone and was kind of like my first big break of, just letting people in my high school know about it because I was able to go in there on a company I was already working on and launching and really apply that actually to this class and pitch it in front of all these teachers and adults, students, friends. And that really made me step out of my comfort zone and realize I could do this. This is something that there's a demand for and that we could possibly go big with.
I have about a minute left with you. I want you to fast forward a few years. Where do you see Deckies going next?
Honestly, I see Deckies going all across the US. Our biggest thing right now is just getting into more convenience stores and retail stores so we could really get the name out there. Of course, we've been approached a couple times by some actual companies to buy out, but That's not what we want to do. I want to stay in this for the long run and keep the quality and the name consistent. But I see this all over sports, to be honest with you. Um, I think if we get every pro athlete using Deckies, that will change the course of how college and high school athletes put, these products into their system. And I think they would start, slowly but surely getting off of nicotine and tobacco and ultimately switch to Deckies.
Well, I thank you so much for taking time to talk with us today, and great luck on your adventure, your next adventures with Deckies as it continues to move forward. Really appreciate your time today.
Gemma, thank you so much for having me on today. This was awesome. This was a great experience. So thank you.
Well, I'm so glad. We've been talking with Deckies founder Dean Harkenrath about a new Idaho product that is changing the way people are trying to kick the nicotine habit. And that'll do it for this episode of Idaho Matters. Make sure you check out our podcast feed because you can find more episodes of topics that might be interesting to you. And for more local news and headlines, make sure you subscribe to the Connector podcast. Just by listening, you're helping to support public radio right here in Idaho. And I want to say a big thank you for that. Hi, Idaho Matters podcast listeners. If you're on your smartphone right now, or if you have it nearby, I wanted to pop in to tell you about something to check out. Boise State Public Radio is now on Nextdoor. Here's what that means. Trusted local news, thoughtful reporting, and stories from across Idaho right along your neighborhood updates. If you already have the Nextdoor app, you're halfway there. Just search Boise State Public Radio and hit follow.